So hey guys, how you all doing? Welcome to Expert Link and me, David Ford, and our Conversations on Co-Production series, our series of vlogs after conversations that we have during the week, every week around co-production. This time it was a conversation around co-production in a digital world, and it was one that we're revisiting. We held it a month ago and we wanted to see how far everyone advanced, what learnings we could share, what wisdom, what the good bits and the bad bits. So stay tuned. So to help the conversation, we wanted to set a bit of a frame. So we put brought three questions to the group to think about as we're having our conversation. And the first one was, what changes have you made to the way that you do co-production? So pre-COVID-19 and now in COVID-19, what changes have you made to your co-production? The second one was, what have you learned, the good and the bad? And thirdly, what wisdom have you got to share with others? So during the conversation, it was obvious there were three sort of threads or three themes that came out that surfaced, which are really, really important. So the first one was all about platforms and recognizing that there were lots and lots of different platforms out there. So we use Zoom and Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. But for me, for connecting for Zooms, it's fine. I struggle with some of the others. But actually, there are lots of others out there. And we should be mindful, or at least be aware of all the different platforms that are out there, because different people prefer different platforms. Like I said, I prefer Zoom, but there are other platforms that other people use that they would prefer. So we need to recognise that and work out what's the best platform what's the best platform for people and the one that they're most comfortable with to engage with. And another part of this is actually, if we've got new platforms that, or we're having to teach people new platforms and how to use technology, that when we do teach them, we need to come from a place of absolutely of patience and having no assumptions. You know, sometimes for technical things, for people who are perhaps not technically gifted, certainly not in the IT thing, it'll take a while to grasp. And we need to be patient around that. And the other thing is, we don't need to come into that training having assumptions that people already know a whole bunch of stuff. They might not know. Even if they say that they do, they might know it to their level, but it might not be the level that you need it to be at. So don't make any assumptions and be really, really patient when you're teaching people new platforms to use. And one big tip to help us with all of that, make it fun. Absolutely make it fun. Maybe that first co-production meeting isn't talking about co-production. Maybe it's about having some fun and playing with the new platform. You can get green screens and things popping up, can't you? You can do polls, you can all sorts of things going, just to make it a bit of a laugh, a bit of fun. Because you know what? When we're having fun, when we're learning, we learn a lot better. And also what happens is, if that first interaction with it is fun, it means that inside in the subconscious, they're anchoring that this is actually fun to play with and not become anxious or nervous when it comes to using it. If people are anxious and nervous about using the technology, and that's forefront of their mind, how much do you think they're going to be engaged with your process or your meetings around co-production? They're going to be worried about or anxious about the technology bit, not about what they can offer up to the co-production, aren't they? So make it fun. Okay, so the next theme was well-being, and I think there's a couple of things here. The first thing is that came out of the group was that we need to recognise actually how bloody incredible we are as human beings, and how and recognise the resilience and fortitude in all of us. And I don't just mean people who've come from a professional background who have perhaps not got the same, they'll have lived experience, but not the same lived experience of those who are perhaps caught up in multiple disadvantage right now. And maybe not the same lived experience as me. But all of us are really, really showing resilience and fortitude at the moment in these really, really trying times. And I think that's something to recognise and certainly not underestimate. But here's the second point. The second point is about being mindful of what happens after your co-production online meetings. This is a really, really important point. So in the past, we'd have a meeting, wouldn't we? Co-production meeting. Everyone would turn up, sit around the table, sit around in a circle. You talk, you do your co-production, but you'll be in that room together as human beings. And as human beings, you would connect. You have senses. You would be reading as facilitator. You'd be reading the room. You'll be knowing what's happening. You can sense what's happening, you know. And at the end of the meeting, you'll be able to sense if everyone was walking out there better than they walked in. You'd just have a feel for it, wouldn't you? And you'd know if someone had been triggered or not. And then even if you didn't, if they went away afterwards and someone had been triggered or they were feeling a little bit low, you know, there are loads of other opportunities for them to engage with other human beings, wasn't there? So they could speak to the support workers, the recovery coaches, they could speak to somebody at the day centre, they could even talk to, would talk to their friends, you know, interact with another human being, which as human beings is what we need. And more importantly, maybe externalise whatever it is that was going on inside. And just in the fact that they're externalising is helping them. You know, but now in the digital world, what happens is somebody logs into the meeting at 11 o'clock, 30-minute meeting, 11:30 logs off, end. That's the end of it. And you don't know if that person sat in a hotel room or a hostel room somewhere, or in a room, or it could be in a flat, could be anything, on their own, with all of those things going on in their head if they've been triggered. However they left the room, that's what's going to be in their head last when they shut their laptop down. And that actually could be a concern for us. So here's a tip. Here's a tip and just one little tip to help you to recognise if you need to be doing something, either picking up the phone or just checking on one particular individual. What we do in our meetings, we do a check-in and a check-out. So when people come into the room, ask them how they are. And a simple way of doing it is 1 to 10. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Or in one word, how are you feeling? And you can see the temperature or gauge what's happening, how people have entered the room. And then after the meeting, repeat the process. Now you're leaving, how do you feel? What's your rating? How do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, or one word to describe yourself right now? And you can match those two things together. And you can look at one lot, say, well, actually, they've come in as 5s and they're all leaving as 7s and 8s. Fantastic, 9s and 10s. Or they've come in 5s. They're all leaving above, apart from one who's gone down to a 4. Oh, that's so-and-so. I need to check in on that person. At least then you've got something to enable you to a sense check there for you to be able to go out and either ring them or say to them, hang on a second, do you want, before you leave the room, can I just have a quick word? Or the Zoom room or whatever it is that you're using. So that's really, really important to do a check-in and check-out, just to check how people are leaving the room. Our final part, the final thread that came out, and it was quite a good. It was a good piece in the whole of the conversation, is recognising the importance of co-production right now. You know, we're in a really, really fast-paced world. Everything is changing. There are policy decisions being made. There's been action. There's this happening, this, that, and everyone's like really frenetic, isn't it? Do. Got to do something. Yes, and the way they're doing it. And actually, I get that and understand that that's where we are, and that has to happen a lot of the time. But notoriously, co-production has taken time. And it takes quite a lot of effort to make it happen. And also, historically, it's not been the top of everybody's list, co-production. But now more than ever, it's important that co-production happens. It's really important when we're coming up with policies now, especially as we move through this process of social isolation and the COVID-19 situation. As we move through the process, that actually there are going to be policies be written that need to have and must have, I would say, all stakeholders involved. That's lived experience too in the process of designing those policies. So it's incumbent upon us, those in the co-production world. If you're watching this and you're in the co-production world, I mean you, not just me. It's our job to keep reminding those who have got who have the responsibility to design these policies that actually the voices of those with lived experience, those who are experiencing, who will the effects of the policies being written will affect they need to be in the conversations. They need to be in the designing of these policies as we go forward. So that was our conversations, guys. It was absolutely fantastic. I really would invite you and encourage you to put any comments down, or any tips, advice that we can share with the rest of the group. If you want to get involved in any conversations, follow the link below, and they'll take you to all our conversations we've got lined up. But importantly, I have one ask of you. Well, it's three little ones actually. Like, share, subscribe. If you can do that for us, it would help our algorithms on these social media platforms, and just build the conversation and get it spread further and further. And hopefully we can build and co-create a world that we want to be in. That's enough for me, guys. So thank you very much for your time. But until next time, I love you all and stay safe.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what.